Have you ever been one of the people who have struggled to come up with ideas or a concept for your client or a new passion project? Well, if that is the case, you are not alone, because I, especially me, struggle to come up with good ideas, ideas that work, ideas that are appropriate for the project that I'm working on when it comes to logo design. And a big part of this is because there are so many logos that we could design, limiting ourselves is quite a difficult road to go down when we're designing a logo. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can come up with logo design ideas pretty easily, and a method that I've used for a while now in order to create visual ideas and put my thought process down on paper. So not only can I come up with ideas, but I can also communicate those ideas and show my patterns of thought to the client during a presentation. But of course, this will work for any sort of project and any creative output that you need. Before we get into the rest of the video, I just want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring the video. Squarespace is a place where you can create your own very own beautiful website. I've been using Squarespace for about 6 years now for my portfolio, but also so I can sell my products like digital resources like brushes and anything that I sell on my website, which you can find down below. Not only that, I use it for creating blog posts and also for where clients can come and view my work and then contact me for commissions. It's my own little corner of the internet, and with thousands of templates to choose from on Squarespace that are fully customizable, you can't go wrong, and you don't need to be a web design wizard to know how to make a beautiful website. If you'd like 10% off, click the link down below in the description or use the coupon code on screen now. Okay, so I'm in my software here, and this is called MindNode. This software is basically a mind mapping software that I use to create my mind maps or to create hierarchical thought thinking. Chances are, if you're a creative person or a designer that works in the visual space, you are probably really well versed into visual thought, but you haven't been able to do it so cleanly before. So this is an app that you can download on your iPad, your iPhone or Mac, but there are so many different apps that you can actually choose from to do the same thing, or just paper. So I've worked with a client recently called Brooks Molds, and they basically create molds for companies, like big companies, where they would have like bathtubs or sink. They create molds for these companies to sell the product. So they create the mold that they use to manufacture these products. So this is a very, very niche sort of client. So how did I come up with ideas for them? So first of all, I'll put down the actual name of the company here. Now, when I'm mind mapping, it's really important for me to know what the specifications are for the logo. So this is where you need to have a brief and goals. So what I'm going to be writing in here is goals, and from these goals I'm going to be basically going ahead and writing them down and connecting my thoughts. So goals is to create a modern logo, increase revenue. So what I'm going to do now, after I've got some of my goals out, I'm going to start writing down some of the visuals. So molds, what do they sort of like entail? Solidifying, repetitive. And once I've got a few of these ideas, I'm going to go ahead and create more and more nodes. So for instance, I need to make one for shapes. So I would like to know what kind of shapes that I can use with this. And all I'm doing is connecting them up. So I know that it needs to be blocky. And by blocky, this is just a way for me to know it's going to be square and geometric. I write bold because having a bold design for this generally will work. And then non-rounded. I want the design to be very much blocky in itself, and I'll show you the design at the end. I've already made a video about it, I believe, and it will help explain a bit more. Now, when I go for colors, I know I spell it differently to Americans, but that's how we spell it over here. The colors can be quite a few different things. So we can have blue, green, not appropriate, and why is it not appropriate? Doesn't fit industry. And I can keep adding these things here. Electric, vibrant. So something else that I want to get across here is the customers. So their customers are manufacturers. So I'm getting all the information out. Generally during these mind mapping things, I'm just getting all the information out to myself, and then I can connect dots later on. Having it all down really helps me understand where I'm going with the client. So for manufacturers, the customers, non-high street, obviously, large production. And then I'm going to say IKEA because that's the kind of thing that they're going for, but that's not specifically one of their clients. Now, obviously, I've got all the information out there now. So what I want to do is create a new main node, and I'm going to write down molds because I want to see what my mind comes up with when I'm writing them down. You'll be surprised about the amount of times that your brain can connect dots with words. And if I did this for like eternity, I would probably put everything in the English language in here. So for about half an hour, what you want to do is just write down all your ideas and anything that comes to mind. So for molds, it's going to be deep space because you're going to be molding something in a deep space. You know, the shape, square, most likely not round. So I want that to sort of show in the design itself. But rounded square could be something that I have in there. Play on the MB. And I'm putting question marks whenever I find something in here. Another concept that I could look into is hardening, because a mold will harden. Illusion of hardening. Sturdy. These are all words that are just coming to me as I'm writing them out. But also something that comes to molding is liquids. And you might be thinking this is a very strange video right now, but it makes sense, don't worry. So I could have like a spilling effect on it or half filled tub, because when I think of molding, I want to see the action in my brain of what's going on. So I could create a liquid effect. And a molten, smooth. For the color, I don't want it to be any earth color. So I don't want it to be anything like brown or anything. I want it to be something that is, you know, modern, eccentric, vibrant. And when I go on here, I want to create another one saying to stand out from competition to manufacturers. And then on the manufacturer side, I actually want to write down like IKEA. If that is like one of their goals, then it would be like, you know, other company names. So as you can see, I'm building my thought patterns on here, and you can easily see where I'm going with this. You can see I've got two main nodes here with all my ideas, and I can keep adding to them and I can connect them all the way around. Here's one I created earlier to save you from watching me doing that for a long time. As you can see, I've got all of my sort of looks here, my ideas, all neatly down here that I can export out and I can create from. And you know, these ideas all connected together. You can see I've created more of these ideas connected together. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you the work that I created for Brooks Molds as from this, because the ideas that came into place and having them written down in a visual format helped me come up with a concept to help other people see the concept through what I'm writing or designing. So I started off the concept knowing that I needed to basically work on the type and an icon, and I liked the idea of a Squarespace, and I kept this concept here just as like inspiration, because in my ideas panel you can see, if I go over to it, a lot of it is very geometric. So when I'm going into the ideas, you can see wherever the shape is or where I've gone to see the goals or the actual molds part here. Reusable cast polymer shape, play on the MB, M in a square format. You can see where I've gone ahead and tried to recreate those concepts because I know it's supposed to be square. Then I created the element of depth, which is also in the mind node. Because of that, I was able to, in my mind, come up with this concept. All we're really doing is taking thoughts, like basically vomiting thoughts onto a page and then reorganizing them and connecting them in a visual way so we can put them down on Illustrator as like paper. So you can see here I've created this concept. I like the element of depth. So the idea here, even though this is a very badly designed logo idea, it's creating an element of depth inside of a cube, which would look like more of a mold if that came a concept, although that was very literal. I sort of played around with these ideas here, which looked really not very good. Played around with this idea up here, but then I came up with this idea of an impossible shape through these shapes here. I wanted to sort of interact a shape in a shape and create this impossible abstract effect. And I came up with a few. These ones didn't seem appropriate, and I mean, you know, they seem too timely. So what I wanted to do was create an abstract effect on one of these ideas here, and I eventually came to this one, which doesn't matter how you look at it, it's got this very strange depth to it, which is what I wanted. So we eventually, after all the playing around with it, came to this idea here for Brooks Molds. And you can see through the mind map, through the hardening, the liquid, the molten, the shape, you know, I've got all of my thought patterns here, and they're all valid thoughts, all thoughts to do with the project that I can just physically go back to and use them in my concepts. When you mind map, what you're doing is you're limiting your thoughts to a certain subject, but you're allowing your thought span to include increase in that subject because you're not holding information in your brain. So whenever you're creating a logo idea, for instance, you know, if it's going to be Brooks Molds or a whiskey company brand, or if you're creating a mobile app, make sure you allow your thoughts to expand by using mind map software or just creating a mind map so that you can see the positives and negatives, so you can see the different ideas that you come up with, like concepts, water, solid, bright color versus earth color. When you have all of these, you're putting your thoughts down on paper, and having a paper trail like this means that the client can easily see your thought pattern going in to the project. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please press that red subscribe button down below, turning on post notifications so you never miss another video like this. Thanks for watching. Comment down below any questions that you have. See you next week. Goodbye.